Hey, welcome to Community Matters, the show where we bring you important information and insights about our city's issues, departments, and initiatives. I'm your host, Josh Padgett, and today we're diving into hurricane preparedness, which is something every resident of Homestead should be thinking about this time of year. Joining us to discuss this crucial topic is Hurricane Man, Stephen Taylor from the Emergency Management here in the City of Homestead, Alicia Horner, coming up from Miami-Dade County's Department of Emergency Management, and Barbara Quinones, Director of Homestead Energy. Thank you guys for coming back here in the studio.
Thank
Alicia, good to meet you. Yeah.
Good to meet you too.
Thank you, Josh.
Yeah, thank you guys. So, let's kick things off, Steve, because I want to talk about, we're in the middle of hurricane season right now, which runs from June 1st to about November 30th, end of November?
Exactly.
Okay, and it's now more important than ever to be informed about all things hurricanes, so we're going to start with the basics. Emergency management operations. What do you guys do in emergency management?
Well, our role and responsibility is to make sure that the community and the city government is prepared to handle any type of man-made or natural disaster. And, we develop plans, we develop procedures, we do training, and we get everybody all on the same page so that we have good communications amongst each other so that we can service the community and give them what they need and get the community back up on its feet and running.
Okay, and is that basically the same thing you guys do on a county level, Alicia?
Yes, Josh. Just like Stephen reiterated, that on a county level, we deal with a broader scale. So we have more of a geographic region. We have 34 municipalities that we have to monitor. So making sure that all of our municipalities, our stakeholders, whether they're internal or external, making sure that everyone is on the same page.
So 34 municipalities within the county. Okay.
Yes.
Can you imagine all 34 communities trying to call one entity for help? So that's why they've got it broken down into divisions, which is a good planning modality in order to be able to coordinate resources that the community needs.
Absolutely, and I guess throughout the year, training staff. Now, with Barbara, are you responsible for training just the HPS Energy staff? And Steve, do you assist her in that, or are you mainly for the rest of the city staff? And you kind of hold the power company?
Well, the answer, Josh, is really both. We participate in the city drills, and we have drills of our own that are just specific to the electric utility. And so our training for our folks is both internal, and then we also participate in the training with the city, and on occasion we participate in other mock simulations that are held statewide just for electric utilities. So it's a little bit of both, but we definitely value the education of our folks to prepare us for these events, because we know what it's like to get hit, and we know if you're well prepared, things go much more smoothly than if you haven't prepared.
So Steve, how do you prepare the rest of the city staff for hurricane season?
We do a lot of training, and we get city staff involved. The room that we're sitting in right now, the studio, is also our emergency operations center. So when it's not being used as a studio, this is where we gather, and this is the center of information, the core of intelligence, that we can get all the information coming in. And we practice that through mock drills. And we get all the department heads in here with their supervisors and managers, and we give them scenarios, if you would, mock incidents that they need to address. And so this training is important to make sure everybody is on the same page and using the tools that are available to assist us in getting that done. We have vendors that are specialized in moving debris, and disposing of that debris. We have vendors that repair fences. We have those that come in and assist Barbara with restoring power. And then we have the county that we turn to. If we can't do it ourselves, we reach out to them and say, please, can you offer that assistance? I can just give you one example. Going back to Irma, we needed gasoline and diesel fuel to keep our trucks running. So the county was able to provide that to us. All we simply did was enter the information in, the counter responded, and we were getting fuel deliveries.
So Alicia, what's the number one resource that the municipalities ask for most from the county?
It all depends, Josh. So, it's a collaborative approach. Mainly when we go through hurricanes in the aftermath, it's always gasoline. That is the number one contender. There's also for dams, for water flooding mitigation purposes. So those are the two main resources that we see coming through our Emergency Operations Center.
So with hurricane preparedness, what's the number one thing municipalities struggle with the most?
Making sure that there's not just one or two particular people within your organization that knows the plans, the policies, and procedures, right? So that comes into play with the whole training,
Exactly.
right, of your staff. Pre-hurricane, even during hurricane season, and in the aftermath when you do your after-action reports, right?
Right.
So you want to make sure that you have improvement plans or what have you. So I think that is the biggest challenge, so that everyone is on the same page, is, just not one or two people are the gatekeepers of the policy and procedures. Everyone knows what their role and responsibilities are, and then if there's issues, they know who to go to for those answers.
We also, with the county, have this Ready Miami-Dade app for the residents to use. Can you explain to the people a little bit about that app and what it entails?
Yes, so Miami-Dade County has an incredible app. It's called Ready MDC. In order for you to receive it, you can go to your Apple store or you could go to Google Play to download it. It is a real-time application in regards to preparedness. So we have our hurricane guide that is on this application. So if you didn't receive the physical copy, because we mail these out to every resident every year, if you haven't received it through the mail, you can download the app, and all this information is actually in the app. We have it in 3 languages, English, Spanish, and Creole. So it gives you a real-time information. Say, for instance, the mayor gives the order for any type of evacuation orders. You can receive information in regards to what shelter is open in your geographical vicinity. So you don't have to waste time to say, okay, what shelter is open? So not only can you use it during hurricane season, you can use it before, during, after, because it has all of our contact information within the county.
Now, are evacuation routes and shelters, do those locations stay the same throughout the year, or are they updated right before a storm or during a storm? Do they change?
Yes, they change on an annual basis. I want to say that the bus pickup points, they rarely change. However, on an annual basis, our shelters change and some of the bus pickup points change. We make sure that with the bus pickup points, there's clear visibility to know that where their locations are. It's just so important that during an evacuation order is that you're cognizant of broadcast, whether it's radio, television, and what have you, to make sure that you just don't self-deploy to these shelters, because sometimes people in their community, they're so used to certain evacuation centers that are open and they go straight to those evacuation centers. Well, if that location is in a surge zone, with flooding, we're not going to open up that shelter. So it's very important to be cognizant of the information that is coming through our mayor's office and through our director of emergency management to let you know which shelters are open. So then to piggyback on this app, you don't have to listen to all of that. You can just download the app in real time. You can see what shelters are open, which ones are at full capacity, which ones are pet friendly, which ones are our medical evacuation centers. So it's a wealth of information.
So physically, for evacuations, what do residents need to keep in mind if they're going to try to evacuate the city before a storm?
Okay, so the main important point is to have situational awareness, right? Make sure that there is an evacuation order. When you go to an evacuation center, you want to make sure that you have your essentials, your clothing, any specialized medication, and if you're on a special diet, make sure you take your specialized food. The shelters do provide food, but you want to make sure before you arrive there, get something to eat. because it could take a while for operations to progress, and then feeding time. You might be in a shelter not just one day. You might be in a shelter for 2 or 3 days. So be cognizant of bringing a little bit of extra clothing and toiletries and what have you.
As far as storm preparedness, can you talk a little bit more about how HPS Energy is getting prepared throughout the year?
We have a number of initiatives that are ongoing. We're replacing wooden poles with concrete poles to harden the infrastructure. In some cases, we're putting in larger wire sizes. We're also undergrounding sections that are currently overhead. We go in and we hit the trees, because trees are one of the biggest problems for us after a hurricane, as we've witnessed. So we go in and we make sure that we do all the tree trimming that we can ahead of time. And we're also, even the wooden poles, if we're replacing a wood with a wood, we're going for a bigger, more robust pole. We also pre-order material, because if a storm comes, our current inventory will not be sufficient.
So yeah, speaking of tree trimming, I mean, that's a huge topic that always comes up every year. So for residents to mitigate that much problems with the trees during a hurricane, when is the best time for residents to cut down their trees?
Don't wait till hurricane season. Do it before hurricane season. The biggest problem is people neglect thinking about that until all of a sudden the weatherman is saying, get ready, you might get hit, and prepare. So that's when everybody will start cutting and putting limbs out, piling up debris in the front of their home for the community to take it away.
So yeah, so when the hurricane's on its way, people start cutting the trees.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we may not have enough resources or time available to get it all. So just think about it. You got a mountain of tree limbs out in front of your house. We couldn't get to it. What happens when that wind starts picking up? Okay, that mound of debris that you have in your front yard now become projectiles. You're damaging other people's homes. You're damaging your own home because it's flying across the yard, hitting your roof. And what good are storm shutters if a tree limb ends up going through your roof?
So this is like a spring cleaning type thing.
That's a good analogy, yes.
Yeah.
And then I would imagine it's suggested to do that right before your bulk pickup day, I would imagine.
Exactly. And, don't risk trimming limbs that may fall on a wire or something like that that's attached to a neighboring house or your own home. If you have an issue, call the power company.
And so during the storm and people are losing power, the grid's lost power, are you well aware of the areas of the city that have lost power and still have power?
Yes. We have remote monitoring on our main circuits, and so we know every main circuit that has locked out because of problems from the storm.
Do you have a list of priority areas that you want to hit first?
Yes, we do, Josh. First, we focus on critical infrastructure. So critical infrastructure is going to be hospitals, fire and police. The next tier is assisted living. And then our next tier of triage is what can we do that's the least amount of effort to get the most amount of customers on. So we'll look at circuits, main circuits that are lightly damaged, and we'll go ahead and work to get those online so we're bringing out a wider swath of customers. And then the last ones we're trudging through are where the damage is just very, very severe.
The most dangerous part of the storm is actually after the storm.
Now, how is that?
Well, you got to take into consideration that all this damage has occurred. You've got one of the probably most common issues with accidents that occur after a storm are electrocutions. You've got nationwide, the typical statistic is a lot of deaths occur as a result of flooding. Then you also have anaphylaxis, which is allergic shock, because what happens after a storm, all those nests of bees and hornets and whatnot, they're stirred up and they're angry. They're upset that their home has been disturbed. And folks that are allergic are out there and getting stung. So that's another big issue.
I've never even thought about that. Oh my gosh. So yeah, you survived the hurricane and now you got swarms of bees coming after
Exactly.
you.
And the resources, the life-saving resources, may not be available to them, like an EpiPen or an ambulance just showing up at your house. So that's another issue. People get into accidents after the storm because the streetlights aren't working. So all these things can occur after a storm.
Right, because you're going to have city staff out there trying to clear the roads so that you can get people's power back up and running. Because of that, most likely there's a lot of down power lines. Now this is kind of this obviously poses a danger for residents. What kind of advice do you have for people with down power lines around their house?
Well, yes, definitely, Josh, they pose a danger. And we would ask folks to stay away from any downed line that you see. Do not, in any case, touch those lines. It's very, very dangerous. You don't know if they're energized or not. So please just stay away from down power lines. Report them back to us at either our website or the number.
So the City of Homestead has introduced a new program to assist our elderly and disabled residents during emergencies, EEDA, Emergency Elderly and Disabled Disaster Assistance Program. Stephen, can you tell us a little bit about what that entails, EDA?
Basically, folks that qualify for that program, the EDDA, are folks that are unable to go to our distribution sites. You know, prior to a storm and after a storm, we'll set up distribution sites for sandbags prior to the storm, ice and water, both prior to and after the storm, because those are resources that folks out there, our residents, really need. And there are folks that are unable to do that on their own. So the City of Homestead has taken on that program where we'll use resources that are available to us to take those supplies to those that desperately need that are unable to get it themselves.
And yet, everyone at home, Homestead residents, you can find that program on homesteadfl.gov/assistance. And once you're registered and verified, and verification is completed, these items are going to be delivered right to your home.
Exactly.
That's nice.
I'll be part of the interview process, and my intention is to go visit these folks and to make sure they understand how the program works and just do a quick face-to-face with them.
Okay, and so this is, and with the county, Alicia, you have other programs similar to this that can be used additionally with Homestead residents?
Yes, Josh, we have an incredible program. It's called our Emergency and Evacuation Assistance Program, EEAP. It is a resource that we have in the county that is free for all residents. So this program provides wonderful benefits to our residents. So it provides specialized transportation. So if you need transportation to one of our evacuation centers, if you are eligible for the program, then we provide that specialized transportation. It provides a safe haven. So a safe haven meaning it provides the safe shelter. It does not provide one-on-one, medical care, but we do provide the medical monitoring piece. And this is done in conjunction with our health department and our healthcare partners. And also this program also has wellness checks. So you might not need to go to a shelter or what have you, but you want to make sure that someone is checking up on you after the storm. This is an incredible program. You can register on our website. It's miamidade.gov/DEM. It is our EEAP program. Once you go on our page, you can either register online or you can actually request a physical copy. So this is a physical copy of the application. Again, we have it in 3 languages. We have it English, Spanish, and Creole.
So that's another great resource for residents to have here before a storm comes. Thank you for that. So what do we have here, Steve? You set this table up. I see we've got a lot of items here. We've got your MREs, some protein drinks, and flashlights, batteries. These are all essential items that you need for an emergency kit. Can you go through some of these?
And these are just some suggestions, and again, it's going to depend on whether you're going to an evacuation center or you're hunkering down and staying at home.
Okay.
So let's just focus on staying at home, things that you should have. You got a first aid kit, okay? A radio to listen to weather reports, a little toolkit that you may need, for whatever reason. Make sure you have trash bags. And these are also things that you want to bring along to a shelter. Make sure you have a gallon of water per person per day. Okay, that's a big resource. A gallon of water per person per day. Remember, there's no AC. All right, so folks are going to need to be hydrated. Spare batteries. You know, I've got a little thing here of playing cards. That's just to demonstrate, you know, something to keep the kids and yourselves occupied. Okay. And then, of course, it's very important. Credit cards require internet accessibility in order for them to work. And if the internet is down, cash. Okay, you need cash. I've got a little USB thing here in a waterproof container, along with, you know, if you have special needs like hearing aid, batteries, meds, things like that, glasses, make sure it's all together. That USB drive has all your photo records on it. Okay, remember, if it's on the internet and you don't have access to the internet, what are you going to do?
Right.
Okay, remember your cell phones. Your cell phone is not a phone.
Yeah.
It's a two-way radio. And what does a two-way radio need? Antennas. What if the antennas are laying on the ground? How are you going to communicate? All right, so you need to keep these things in mind. These resources may not be available, so you need to think about that, how you're going to plan ahead. Some things that you can have the kids get involved with: emergency lighting for the house. What these things are, you go to one of your local big box stores, they have the yard lights that are out there that are solar powered. Instead of having candles lit around your home or kerosene lamps, these are great little things to have. You know, just take it, pull the little thing out, and it lights up. Of course, it's not going to light up because we have plenty of light in here, but you set these around and they're little candles. Okay, and then at the end of the, you know, in the next morning, have the kids gather them up, put them out in the sun to charge up again. And pennies. Okay, so it's a fun little thing to have. Flashlights. You know, hygiene kit. If you're going to a shelter, you want to make sure you have something available. We do have meals in a box. Those are available. You can get them online. There's 72 hours worth of meals there. And that's what the recommendations from all agencies are. If you're going to prepare for a storm, prepare for 72 hours without any assistance. We may not be able to get to you. So you need to be prepared. Don't depend on us. Depend on yourselves for 72 hours. And that's a good gauge to go by.
Okay, 72 hours, everybody. So that's a lot of stuff. So these MREs are good for that amount of time, and that's a lot of water for every member of your house for 72 hours.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay. So, and it's a gallon a day for
A gallon a day per
so at
person.
least-
Per
okay.
person.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Well, so at least 3 gallons
Yep.
per person for your household. Well, that's great. Thank you so much, guys. Steve, Alicia, Barbara, thank you so much for coming in and educating me and everyone here at home. Thank you guys for coming in and watching this today. I want to also remind you guys, to our viewers, to make sure you register for the emergency assistant programs if you qualify. You know, download the Ready Miami-Dade app and check out Homestead's Hurricane Preparedness Guide. You can go online, homesteadfl.gov/preparedness. Stay safe. We'll see you guys next time right here on Community Matters. Take care, guys.